Hi folks, Ben Starr here. Merry Christmas. This is a Sparkleball. Not a very good name, but you might have seen these occasionally hanging in people's trees. I thought they were the coolest thing in the world when I saw them for the first time. And I was wondering, where on earth did those people get those Christmas decorations? Well, it turns out you make it yourself with plastic cups and a package of Christmas lights. It's actually pretty darn easy. So today, in the spirit of Christmas, and you all know I like to make most of my decorations for the holidays, not only because they're cheaper, but because they're unique, I'm going to teach you how to make a Sparkleball. Making a Sparkleball isn't very hard. You need, first of all, 50 plastic 9-ounce tumblers. You can get them pretty much at any grocery store or big box store. I found a huge, giant bag of them at Garden Ridge for like $5, enough to make 4 or 5 Sparkleballs. But they are, these little cups look just like this, the 9-ounce size. And they're made by a lot of different brands. The soft, flexible ones are easier to work with, but the hard plastic ones make one that's a little bit more sturdy, and if you can find this one's kind of ribbed around the edges, it's going to make a really cool visual effect. You need 50 plastic cups to make one Sparkleball. You need one package of 50 count Christmas lights, and if you'll get the LED lights, you'll use less electricity and they'll last pretty much forever. Because once you get the Sparkleball made, you can't replace the lights on the inside of it. So spring the extra $3 or $4 to get the LED lights. You're also going to need 12 ordinary clothespins. Probably got some of those laying around. If not, they're cheap. And the tool that you use to make the Sparkleball is a soldering iron. These are $6 or $7. You can get them at Radio Shack, Radio Shack, Home Depot, Lowe's, that kind of a place. Sometimes you can also get them at the big box stores like Walmart. And it's that simple. If you've never used one before, they're super easy. All you're going to do is use this to melt the cups together to form the Sparkleball. So let's get started. You're going to start with 50 plastic cups, and you want to melt holes in the center of the back, or the bottom of the plastic cup right there. And to do that, you just push the soldering iron into it and it's going to melt the hole. Now you want to make sure that you're working in a well-ventilated area. Turn on all your fans, open your windows, otherwise you might pass out from the toxic fumes. This is not a very healthy thing to do, and if you can do it outside. If not, make sure lots of ventilation. So we're just going to touch it and melt the hole. Now your hole needs to be large enough to accommodate one of the lights. And if you can't find the 50 count lights, you can get 100 count lights and put 2 lights inside each cup. I'm going to pull these out here, and just to measure size, I'm going to take one of the lights here and insert it into the hole, and it fits perfectly. You don't want the hole to be too big, but you have to make it big enough for a light to be able to insert. So once you've decided on your size, melt holes in all 50 cups. After you get holes melted in all 50 of your cups, get yourself a nice warm mug of mulled wine, because you're going to need it. Cheers. All right, take 12 of your cups and arrange them in a circle, end to end like this. When you've got them all in a circle, we're going to put them together by clipping their ends together with clothespins. Just make sure the rims are pretty much even with each other. And you'll find the further you get around, the whole ring kind of starts to stand up a little bit once you've got them all clipped together. That's fine. If, for some terrible reason, you cannot get a circle out of 12 cups, you may have the wrong size cup. Typically, they're labeled tumblers, plastic tumblers, or classic or old-fashioned tumblers for the size, but I've found just about any brand that you get at the grocery store will end up working. There will be some tension in the circle once you complete it, so don't worry about that. Everything clothespin together, it's time to use your soldering iron to melt the cups together. So you want to start towards the back end from the inside of the cup and just melt a little hole straight through one cup into the other, and then within a second or two, that's going to cool and fuse those cups together. And I like to give myself a couple of dots on the way up, but don't fuse too much towards the outside of the cup, because that will put stress on the cups. So just 1, 2, or 3 little dots towards the back end of the cup will fuse them together. Very simple. So once they're all fused together, remove those clothespins. You honestly won't need the clothespins anymore until it's time to make the second half. Now we're going to start with layer 2, and you will need 9 cups. So take your first cup, place it just in the little saddle between 2 cups, and anchor it to both of those cups. A couple of melts will do just fine. Now continue working your way around. Every cup is not going to fit comfortably in the saddle. Just make sure that you can attach each cup to at least 2 adjacent cups, whether that's 2 on the bottom or the one next to it. And if you are a perfectionist, don't be. These do not have to be perfectly symmetrical. It's going to work fine. Because nobody's going to be up close looking at this. It's going to be hanging in your window or hanging from a tree. So don't get all super anal about making sure everything on it is perfect. If you end up with some gaps here and there, don't worry about it. Again, this is going to look so good when you get it done, and it does not matter if everything is perfectly symmetrical. So for the final layer, 4 cups. And just get them attached wherever you can. Ideally, you would like for this final layer each cup to be attached to 3 other cups, but however you can get them to fit is fine. And if you end up kind of running out of space and you can't fit your final cup in there, again, don't sweat it. This is not rocket science. When you get your half of the sparkle ball assembled, go ahead and go around and melt any edges that you see touching together, and that includes rims like this, where these rims are there. Just kind of use your soldering iron to just kind of melt a little notch down and get those rims attached. This just kind of reinforces the whole thing, gives it a little bit more strength. It's going to be hanging from a tree outside, and it'll have all sorts of wind and rain and stuff to deal with over the course of the season. So the stronger you can make it, the more attachment points you can give it, the longer it will last. Okay, so we've completed half of a sparkle ball. Now take your remaining 25 cups and make another half. Now it's time to add our lights to the sparkle ball. Take half of a sparkle ball and turn it upside down. Should sit there relatively stable. Take the plug end of your lights. And you want this to be hanging outside the sparkle ball so you can plug it in. So make sure it doesn't end up on the inside. Okay, so hang it outside and begin inserting the lights into the bottom holes that you melted into your cups. And you want to do a zigzag pattern towards the interior of the sparkle ball and then back out towards the rim. Don't miss any cups. Now, if you happen to have a light set that contains 100 lights, you'll want to put 2 lights into each hole. Again, you have to make sure you melt holes large enough. And once you've got lights inserted into every hole on half the sparkle ball, take the other half of the sparkle ball upside down and start with the female or receptive end of the plug inside the outer layers, and then continue doing the same to this sparkle ball, working zigzag pattern from the outside to the inside. As you reach the end of your lights, it may get a little bit tricky, and you may want to have somebody help you get the last light centered as you flip the 2 halves of the sparkle ball together. Now we have to join the sparkle ball by melting holes all the way around the perimeter where our 2 halves meet. Now this time you have to be exceptionally careful when you solder, because you've got electrical wires in here, and if you melt through your electrical wire, you've just ruined your sparkle ball. So be very cautious with that hot tip of the soldering iron and make sure you're not melting a wire or a light. And voila, a sparkle ball. Now, it's not the strongest thing in the world, so don't go trying to throw it around like a beach ball. Let's plug it in and see what it looks like. Beautiful. Okay, now a couple of things about practical usage of these. Do not hang it by the electrical cord. Not only does that put tension on the whole ball itself, it puts tension on the cord, and that is a fire hazard. So the best way to hang is to get yourself a little S-hook like this. Find 2 cups that are pretty securely held together, and generally near where the wire exits the sparkle ball. Melt yourself a nice big hole, big enough for that S-hook to go through, and then you can hang it from your tree with chain or wire or string or rope or whatever you have. And that is it. So, I hope the sparkle ball gives a little bit of merry joy to your front yard this season. It's a great craft you can make for yourself. Merry Christmas. Find lots more holiday ideas at benstarr.com. Happy holidays.